Bitcoin visiting range lows yet again. Altcoins acting like we're going into a bear market, where sentiment is so bad we're genuinely asking if that is in fact the case. Is it really over? Listen, anything is possible. Could this be the end of the cycle? Sure. Personally, I don't think that's the case. But if it is, so be it. It's the risk we were willing to take for massive upside. But again, I really don't see any indications that it's nothing but down from here. In fact, we can even visit the 40s and the bull market would still be on. And on the other hand, once Bitcoin does break out, I think it'll be quite ferocious in its upward price action. I think we can hit those 80, 90, 100,000 marks quicker than people can contemplate, especially with the current emotional state of market participants. And so, assuming that the bull market is not over, how will altcoins fare? Where yet again, contrary to popular belief, I think extremely well. In this video we'll be discussing the concept of the second wave. An opening the market rarely gives but is what we're experiencing right now. A gift has been given to those under-allocated or those looking to add more exposure into the markets. A second chance to partake in peak mania. Let's dive into this a bit more. Make sure you're subscribed as we post this type of content often. You don't want to miss what's to come. And also sign up to the Fair Desk crypto exchange with link in description. The exchange is non-KYC, non-VPN. This means you can use it and trade like a pro from anywhere in the world. Even if you're from those countries that'd usually be banned like the USA or UK or Canada. On top of that, the exchange has the lowest trading fees from any of its competitors, and with my link you get a further discount fee and up to $100,000 in deposit bonuses. I mentioned a couple videos ago how I thought Bitcoin would close above 100,000 before a significant close below 60. Quite the eccentric remark to make. But even after Bitcoin literally wicked well below 60 into the 58s, I doubled down on this idea by tweeting out exactly that yet again. Make sure to go follow me on Twitter, I'll leave the link in description. It could be seen as quite foolish on my part to be making this statement with Bitcoin so close to the 60s, but I'd argue this is exactly the zone you'd want to make those claims if you do at all, the level where it actually matters, the level of max opportunity. This is because if we do start getting weekly closes below 60 with no quick recovery, it'd be easy to cut positions I added recently based on that hypothesis of the second wave, which we'll get to in a second. Moving forward now, I'd like to see a quick impulse upward. This would signal strong momentum to break range highs. If we yet again slowly trend upward with no real gas behind it, that'd mean we're more likely to perhaps find ourselves in a traditional cycle in terms of length, or worst case scenario, a true reversal to new lows. So it's the very fact that we are at range lows and looking for a strong impulse that makes things easy, as we'll quickly see if we get it or not. To me though, this is the most important bottom Bitcoin has made in a very long time. How we come off of this will have huge implications for the rest of the bull market. That said, because I'm still leaning toward a left-translated cycle, the decisions I've made have been in accordance. I've thus for the first time in a long time deployed more stables and altcoins, as again this low is either the harbinger of max opportunity or ultimate despair. I will be discussing what altcoins I bought and why, mostly premised on this idea of the second wave. Not only is the second wave another opportunity to make money, I'd argue in hindsight for many individuals it acts as the main time and zone they've made their gains from in the past. If we look at past cycle charts, like with Solana here in the 2021 bull market, we often refer to this by saying Sol from bottom to top made over a 120,000% return, or Link made a 32,000% return, or Luna a 26,000% return, Doge 23,000, Sandbox 18,000. The examples go on and on and on, it's limitless. But care to gander how many individuals caught those returns? It's extremely rare to find anyone. It's because during those moments there's no real indication that these crypto would make those types of moves. But then you may be asking, how then did people make those huge gains on things like a Sol, Link, Luna, Doge, Sandbox? This is where the idea of the second wave comes in, the opportunity to invest in those assets after its first and significant drawback. But please understand, it's not as simple as buying the pullback blindly. I will be explaining to you the significance of this pullback and why in actuality it turns out to be such a great opportunity. Let's use Sand as our example because we're not dealing with a major here, a run-of-the-mill crypto that did extremely well last cycle but no one really cares about now. perhaps the best representation of what most crypto will turn out to do this cycle. So from the bottom to its first top, sand went up 2400%, it corrected 83%, before going up what was eventually 5600% to its peak. This is what I mean by second wave, the second opportunity to invest for big X's. But there's ideas behind this second wave, and what makes it so special, even more so than the first wave in my opinion. The first reason is distribution. Remember, there's two types of price action: accumulation and distribution. The dump is the first sell-off distribution, but I'd argue the most important of the entire sandbox existence. Like I said, people like you and I rarely buy here, but this distribution still occurred, and that too aggressively. The only people who could have been selling therefore are early investors and insiders who got access to tokens early and cheap, and that too in what's typically large quantities. Having them sell their tokens is important for the long-term bullish price action of a project. This sell-off phase allowed for sand tokens to go from a few to many, where those many are usually retail, who have the goal of big returns, meaning are diamond hands who inflict less sell pressure, the perfect recipe to allow for what usually ends in blow-off tops. Also, a crypto project going from nothing to something in its first leg up leads to more interest. Interest means community, also blending in with our first point of distribution. And interest also means market makers. Now this chart of sand is from Binance, who has its price history from when it launched, but look at the sandbox chart on OKX and KuCoin, coming in pretty much exactly where sand topped on its first wave. So in summary, with the second wave of a cryptocurrency, we get new characteristics the first doesn't have, including community, which usually starts building at that point, where you'll get many saying that crypto is ready for its second leg, more retail holders of the token versus VCs, and more exposure to the token as market makers and exchanges start to get involved. This is why I'm typically very much against the idea of a crypto has quote-unquote already pumped as an excuse to not buy a token, and why I'm not very much worried about our current altcoin slumber in the 2024 bull market. In fact, if you're a true OG, I talked about this concept before, back in my very first video of buying Pepe. I didn't know the meme coin existed when it launched in April of last year, but I had this idea of the second wave in mind. It topped, meaning early whales dumped and were no longer a threat. The crypto world got knowledge of Pepe, allowing a fanatic community to flesh out, and many major exchanges started listing it at that point. The coin died for a while. Many wrote it off. I was slowly DCAing. And now we got our second wave where it went up 1600% thus far. But now, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured it out, many altcoins that pumped hard in Q1, Q2 of this year have or are about to enter their accumulation phase in preparation for its second wave of this crypto bull market. This is why I made a video saying do not capitulate, and why I'm making this current one saying it might be time to add greater exposure. Let's now discuss what I think these crypto are. Off the bat, we have WIF. This is absolutely textbook in my opinion. It plays out like Pepe. In this range, no one really knows what WIF is, a 2300% run-up, in which WIF for those days is the main star of crypto. The division occurs between those who love and hate the project, sparking the creation of community. Whales who got in at these lows dump a vast majority of tokens where there's better decentralization, with more wallets picking it up. And we've since dumped 70% from highs, which causes many haters and fudders to start dunking on WIF and its holders, claiming they were right the whole time, that it was in fact vaporware. And all in the meanwhile we're preparing for a move like this or something close to it. Bittensor is another one going down 68%. I don't think TAO has a mean reversion back to new highs. Instead, I think we see something like this. Beam is another one, as is arweave and celestia and others. There's also this case. Now this is the Sol chart of last cycle. So technically Sol had its second wave here, correcting 80% before going up 20,000. But on the way there, we also had this, which could technically be called a third wave, where Sol again went down 70% before rising 1300%. The same rules apply. I also think there's many altcoins in this third wave. Crypto like rndr, which had already gone down 57% once, and again went down 55%, akash network another, fetch another. Don't feel some type of way if I didn't mention your crypto. I'd argue many make it into this criteria. The rules are simple. Go view your crypto and see if it applies. Comment them below if you're still confused and I'll try getting back to you. But once more, this is it, the window of max opportunity or max pain. There's no real need to overthink it. There's nothing else I can add, the rest is up to you. Like and subscribe for more videos like this, and sign up to the Fair Desk Crypto Exchange with link in description. Until next time, take care.